Our trip began about 3 hours southwest of Denver, Colorado, in a small town called White Pine. We arrived at the trailhead on Friday afternoon, ready to kick off our 3-day bikepacking adventure on the Pitkin Passage route designed by Neil Beltchenko. With the route spanning 70 miles and climbing over 12,500 feet, we figured we'd better get a head start that evening, shaving off a small chunk to make days 2 and 3 a little bit easier. With that, we started pedaling west on a smooth gravel road towards the top of Black Sage Pass. I was joined by 2 of my good adventure buddies, Vince, riding a full suspension transition spur, and Austin on his trusty Surly Krampus hardtail. We were carrying everything we'd need for 3 days: food, shelter, and a positive attitude. Our main challenge for day 1? Find a solid campsite with access to water. After summiting Black Sage Pass, we flew down a buttery smooth descent. We then arrived at our only turn of the day and began climbing Juanita Pass. The incline was gentle, and we were feeling good with fresh legs still very early in our trip.
To the right at the top of the pass, looks like the headwaters of Hot Springs Creek.
Yep, on Forest Road.
When we reached the top, our grand plan of find a perfect campsite with a babbling brook quickly turned into wander around where we thought there would be water and find a disgusting cow trough that we briefly discussed filtering from. We weren't that desperate yet, so using our phones, we searched for any spring that might be trickling enough to filter water from. After following a few side roads, we finally found an adequate spot with a questionable stream. It wasn't exactly flowing, it was more like a damp suggestion of water. But we filled our bottles, set up camp, and settled in for the night. With fire dangers low, we even started a small fire, sharing stories before drifting off to sleep, knowing that tomorrow was going to be a big day.
Dang it.
We woke up early, packed up camp, and hit the road before even eating breakfast. A fast, chilly descent brought us into the town of Pitkin, where Neil Beltchenko's version of the Pitkin Passage route typically begins.
Oh man, the city snowman. Oh, nice.
With grumbling stomachs, we made a beeline to the only open spot in town, the Stumbling Moose Bar and Grill. We walked in on a mission to find food and coffee, only to realize we were the first customers of the day. They fired up the grill for us, and it was $17 for 3 very average breakfast tacos. But I will say, they really hit the spot, and were much better than eating freeze-dried meals. With our stomachs full, we rolled out of Pitkin and set our sights on the first major climb of the day. Back en route, we quickly realized we were the only ones on bikes. Pitkin is basically a 4x4 paradise. We were surrounded by ATVs, dirt bikes, and side-by-sides kicking up dust, and people giving us confused looks as we pedaled upwards. The Cumberland Pass climb was steady and consistent, rising 3,800 feet above Pitkin to a summit of 12,034 feet. Despite the traffic, the higher we climbed, the better the views became.
We came, we saw, we conquered. On to the next one.
3 passes down. I don't know how many more to go.
After a quick break at the summit, we then raced down the other side to the historic town of Tin Cup. Once in Tin Cup, we were ready for a real break.
Tin Cup Town!
It had been 4 hours since breakfast, and given that we were in town, we decided to take advantage of the opportunity to eat a proper meal instead of relying on our packed food. We stopped at Frenchie's, a historic restaurant busting at the seams with tourists and 4x4 riders. Finding a table outside, we took a load off and ordered food. A couple of sodas and some burgers later, we felt refueled and ready for the next major push of the day, the climb to the top of Tin Cup Pass. Starting at 10,200 feet, we knew we had a long way to go to the top at over 12,000 feet once again. Unlike Cumberland Pass, Tin Cup Pass Road was significantly rougher. This was the first part of the trip where our mountain bikes became absolutely necessary. Just outside of Tin Cup, we encountered our first challenge, a large reservoir that we needed to traverse. While most 4x4 vehicles drove straight through the middle of the water, we weren't about to get soaked, so instead, we took a single track trail around the edge. This route took significantly longer than expected, involving some bushwhacking
Kind of sketchy.
and a few precarious moments. After one final mud pit, we finally made it past, climbing again on an increasingly chunky road. To make things more interesting, storm clouds rolled in. Dark, brooding, you really didn't want to be above tree line right now. Clouds.
It's definitely threatening, that's for sure. Yeah. Good lord. Oh, you know that's a jet.
At about 11,600 feet, we decided to make a call and take cover.
Oh!
We tucked into a grove of trees, waiting for the storm to pass.
Well, I think we should go ride, guys. Well, I'm glad we stopped.
And 40 minutes later, music echoed down the mountain. With the storm gone, we charged up the final section to the summit at 12,154 feet.
Here we are.
4 down, 2 to go. We did it.
Success.
With the toughest climb of the day behind us, we soaked in the breathtaking views before beginning the bumpy descent towards our next campsite.
Oh, wait up. Wait a second. Wait, I think this is our turn. Vince! Vince!
Down at about 11,200 feet, we veered onto the Tunnel Lakes Trail, a scenic section of single track, and found a spot to camp for the night. With a reliable water source nearby and incredible views of the mountains we'd be climbing in the morning, we settled in for our second night. The next morning, we packed up and hit the trail, climbing single track for the first time on the trip. It was a welcome change from the 4x4 roads, offering epic alpine views as we climbed above treeline. Excitement levels were high as this was the best riding we had experienced so far. With that, the thin air of the Alpine also offered several grueling sections of hike-a-bike.
Yes. Yes.
Every climb did offer an excellent reward though, with a quick, ripping descent.
Yes.
After a final small climb, we summited Alpine Tunnel Pass. On the other side, we hit a steep, fast descent to the west portal of the Alpine Tunnel, an extremely cool historical site. At one point, this tunnel was the highest in the world, used for transporting goods and people via rail. However, due to constant collapses and extreme winter weather conditions, it was abandoned nearly 100 years ago. After exploring the remnants of the tunnel and a quick history lesson, we descended Alpine Tunnel Road to arrive at our final climb. Tomichi Pass Road was the last section of double-track climbing we had to do, and would ultimately summit at 11,962 feet. After that, we had a brief descent, which led us to the base of Canyon Creek Trail, the steepest, most grueling section of the entire route. The Canyon Creek climb is a real soul crusher. Gaining 800 feet in 1 mile, it is simply unrideable. We did not pedal. With our heads down, we pushed forward, moving one foot slowly in front of the other without saying very much. Eventually, we topped out at over 12,600 feet. With a brief moment to celebrate, we tightened our packs for the best part of the entire trip. 10 miles of uninterrupted, high alpine, high-speed, grin-inducing single track, this technical, fast, and endless descent was the perfect reward for all the effort we had put in, and a great way to end the ride. Dip below treeline, the fun descent continued. You definitely can't rip quite as hard on a bike loaded down with camping gear, but we still had an amazing time, and not a single pack fell off. Eventually though, the single track came to an end, and after 3 days of riding, we were exhausted and done with another incredible adventure. As we loaded up the truck, we reminisced on this Neil Beltchenko inspired trip and began talking about the next one.